In these notes, we're going to continue our discussion of westward expansion and manifest destiny. And today's notes are going to focus on the Oregon Territory. And so as we look at the Oregon Territory, we can see in the map here that it's got what it says Oregon country, and notice that it goes far above what is our current border. So our current border is right here, and it just extends across at that same line. And you can see both the American flag and the British flag here. Well, this territory was controlled by both Britain and the United States. Both sides claimed it as theirs. And at this point, there'd been some movement out there. There'd been people moving out there since the 1820s and 1830s, even more, primarily fur trappers and people of that nature, but then missionaries as well began to move out into this territory. And as more and more people start to move out there, well, it becomes a bigger issue. What are we going to do? How are we going to divide this? Well, for a while, the United States had offered to basically put the line at the 49th parallel, to continue that line across there. But that was not ever, they could never come to a good agreement with this. And James K. Polk is elected in 1844 on this idea of manifest destiny, that he is going to help to make this happen, that the United States is going to expand out to the west. Well, just before he takes office, and as he takes office, Texas is annexed, and then the Oregon Territory is also a big part of the fight. Now, it is often said, a big part of this movement and expansion, it is often said incorrectly, though. But here it is often said that James K. Polk, as part of his election and his campaign, he came up with this phrase called 5440 or fight. In other words, that the line, the boundary, that the United States would get all of this territory above that line as well. And that slogan is what helped propel him to the presidency. Well, that's not really accurate, although it is very commonly said about him. Even in some textbooks, it says that. But he does end up negotiating the treaty that sets the border. And basically, that border is what is accepted. What the United States had said at one time before now comes back to and says, yes, the 49th parallel is okay. There was this thinking that maybe they could get more land, but as the United States is just about to go to war with Mexico over the Texas territory and the Texas border, they realized we don't need to have a conflict with Great Britain over this as well. So let's go ahead and get this 49th parallel as our boundary there and get that set. They can have north of it, we get south of it. And that's what happened. And so this is what is agreed to. And during the 1840s, we've got thousands and thousands of settlers going across the Oregon Trail here. You can see the Oregon Trail coming up to this territory and region. And the activity that you're going to do today is about that Oregon Trail and some of the key issues that people faced, the problems they faced, the struggles that they faced, but also the reasons why they're going there. Why would people face this go on this difficult journey? And that's what the assignment will help you to see. So these settlers, a little bit about them. So the settlers were people who traveled in an uninhabited area to settle it and make it their new home. So the wagons that you see here, they would do these long wagon trains crossing this territory, sometimes dangerous, often dangerous. Disease was one of the problems that people often faced. Crossing the Rocky Mountains is one of the big difficult tasks that they had to face. And then, of course, Native Americans certainly did not want people crossing their land and certainly even settling on their land. And so there was always those dangers as well. So if there's all these dangers, what was it that would motivate people to move? Well, it's really clear. They were hoping, like we've talked before, the West is opportunity. The West is a chance to gain land. The West is a chance to gain money through these economic opportunities. Now, it's primarily farmers. The Oregon country is good farmland. There's lots of rain, and so it was a great opportunity for that. People wanted access to the Pacific Ocean as well. If the United States gains this territory, well, now the United States is clearly got an access to the Pacific. And so people are willing to, now the people, individuals didn't go out west so that the US would get access to the Pacific Ocean. No, the people moved for their own personal reasons, for economic reasons, farming and things like that. The country as a whole also certainly wants access to the Pacific. So we see here that that the U.S. has now, with this, has expanded to the west, but this is not going to be the end of that expansion. We will see more of that in the next few lessons as well, when we start talking about the war with Mexico and the Mexican cession.